gospel's view on wealth and godly economic success is that there must be work, productive or creative work, to produce wealth or material success. Work must be done diligently and excellently because all work was considered as service to God. Indeed, the Proverbs 14 verse 23 says, in all labor there is profit. And the parable of the talents, Matthew 25 verse 14 to 30, Matthew 25, 14 to 30, is the gospel basis for the principle that God expects us to work diligently and be productive. So the Puritans on the pulpits of Europe and later America traditionally taught this work-based approach to prosperity, emphasizing hard work and diligence, adding value to resources, building wealth gradually through consistent effort. So the meaning of the power to get wealth that God gives in Deuteronomy 8 verse 18, where we have those words, the power to get wealth, is that God gives us the power of creativity and innovation to be productive so as we work diligently. The gospel's influence, as we have seen on Europe and America, was to establish the relationship between work and success. Economies are built on this principle. The great economies of the world, the liberal economies of Western civilization, later copied by Japan, these are the principles that these civilizations were based on. But compare this with the perversions of the gospel that we sometimes hear on our pulpits in Nigeria and various parts of Africa, and as I've said, also America. Messages on miraculous wealth, miracle money alerts, anointing for wealth, and various versions of the doctrine that donations or sowing seeds will automatically return in multiples in material wealth. Hands are sometimes laid on people. The anointing for favor. Whole services are devoted to how to attract divine wealth. At the end of the day, people part with whatever they have. But God has ordained only one thing: work, line by line, precept by precept. That's the only way to get wealth. These types of messages do not build economies or institutions. They build a mindset that wealth will come by supernatural means. They urge that we ignore work and productivity and focus on the miraculous. That is a perversion of the gospel, complete perversion of the gospel. This is a gospel that is meant to transform economies, transform nations by the very mystery of its own power. The gospel sets out how it must be done, that it must be by work and productivity, not by miracles. No, miracles are not a process. Yes, miracles occur, but that's not the process for building. No, there are miracles. Miracles are supernatural events. They don't occur all the time. That's why all of us cannot miraculously become rich. No, the gospel is very clear as to how. It is building honestly, with integrity, line by line, precept by precept,